morally indefensible system of their ancestors. The Western Cape has the highest prevalence of fetal alcohol syndrome in the world. Many still indentured on the farm still receive part payment in alcohol. The church imposed European ideas of individualism. Because of the various vagrancy laws, natives had no choice but to depend on Christians to handle native grievances with the administration. Fleeing natives often approached the church to help them retrieve their captured children. Mission stations resembled prisons but provided defense against being hunted by Christian commandos. The unconverted loitered around churches, identified by wooden passes around their necks, and ultimately, under the slew of vagrancy laws, had no choice but to comply with the missionary agenda. Since the Christian missions were now inside ancestral homesteads, the converted Khoi were forced to build and live in European-style hamlets and church buildings. Women who became pregnant in traditional partnerships would be banished from their ancestral land. Those unable to work were excluded from security benefits. All contracts were verbal, and only Christian testimony carried weight. Debt bondage was enforced. This often resulted in indigenous people working until the end of their lives, or until they became too old and weak, or until they were thrown off the farm. In exchange for safety and laying down of weapons of resistance, it became obligatory to build houses 10 by 40 meters at their own cost, and if they complied to the rigid specifications, they would be rewarded with wood subsidies for their roofs. Very few Europeans thought natives capable of learning. It was only when missionaries learned African languages that Christianity started making impact. In the early 1800s, missionaries set up schools for African natives. In 1799, the first school catering for Africans opened in King Williamstown, and in 1824, Loveday in Alice is opened by the Glasgow Missionary Society. As the contingent of literate natives grew, they were forced to go out and teach the gospel to their clans and tribes. By the time the state introduced education for Africans, almost every mission station had a school for adults and children. A profession in Christianity became a sign of respectability, and large numbers of Africans became baptized. People seeking advancement joined the church for the reinvention of their communities in the hope for a better life and shelter from the Christians. Christianity became a means of regaining self-respect and a survival tool against being press-ganged into free labor locally or abroad. Missionaries' capitalist agenda included trading in weapons, humans, ivory, animal skins, and brandy, and turning vigilante groups such as the Griqua into political groups. From 1841, mission schools received grants from the newly established Department of Education. By 1928, there were 48 missionary organizations with tens of thousands of missionaries, including doctors, nurses, teachers, and nuns in the Cape Colony. The Moravian Church was first established in the region of Bohemia and Moravia, now called the Czech Republic. They brought European crafting skills and created aspirational European villages, normalizing parish peasant lifestyle to those who sought refuge, destroying communal lifestyle of its inhabitants. Genadendal, 140 kilometers from Cape Town, was established as a missionary station. George Smith was a trained butcher born in Kunwald, Germany. He was baptized in 1709 at the age of 16 and became an evangelist. He was banished to the Cape and the first to introduce a community of Khoi to the Moravian Christianity.